Look, folks, there's no reason to fight over this religion, whether it's God or no God. I mean, you're gonna kill yourselves. Just wait a couple more years. Science is gonna find more information like they always do, and eventually they're gonna solve what could have caused the Big Bang, and then what could have caused it. Everybody will shut up, and everybody, probably religion would be totally dead. Just chill out for a second, okay? Nobody has to go crazy. There's not really no fighting. I mean, you're just fighting, really fighting over nothing now, which you can't prove. You can't prove there's God, and you can't prove there's no God. You can't prove, I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I mean, obviously go by the logic reason because, the Bible has too much flaws in it, all that crime in it, and, no matter what religion, Christian, Hindu, Christian, Muslim religion, Jewish religion, even the Jewish religion, they say they got the best religion, they truly think they have it right of all. And they say, you go to hell too, but it's a hell called Gehenna, and it's actually a better hell supposedly than any of the other religions. But apparently they say you can go back, but some people say you stay there, just because I'm not believing in God. It just doesn't make sense, folks. What kind of God, if He created you, loved you, would send you to hell just because of not believing in Him, which He will actually show physical proof? Does that make any sense? You're just reading from Babylonian goat hoarders from 3,000 years of whatever, of any of all the religions. The Muslim religion, 72 virgins, they die. The Christian religion, I mean, come on now. With the talking snakes and I mean, come on, man. It's a trade system. All the religion is a trade system, man. 72 virgins to kill yourself? Come on. Would a God write that? I mean, use your brain, folks. Just because we don't know what caused the Big Bang? You're believing in this nonsense? Come on, folks. Hey, don't you think there could be an other explanation from billions of years a lot can happen? Right? Not even a deism is the right approach. Because even in deism, you're still believing in a God, not in the God of the Bible or the religions, which I accept. That's fine, but you're still believing in a God. Where the hell does God come from? What God is it? And what is it? An alien God? A space God? I mean, come on now. Don't you? And this God is invisible. It's like a portal way up in the sky you can't even see. It's outside of time and space. Come on, use your brain, folks. Don't you think there's a rational explanation? The supernatural has never been proven. So you're just fighting over a war. Nobody can win. I mean, and the person that has the most to win is the atheist, because it's based on truth and reason and logic. What makes Jesus the best God out of any other gods? Come on, use your brain, man. There's no God that would love you, right? Crazy nonsense from talking snakes to creation of hell to creation of heaven, to ark that's not there's no physical evidence of, and not to mention it's not even the first creation story. The first creation story is the Babylonian creation with Tiamat and Marduk. The Bible, it's edited version, and the Noah's Ark. There's been the totally different floods. I mean, Noah's Ark's not even the first flood, and there's never been a total proof of a worldwide flood, just like a total proof of historical Jesus, or if Jesus did, the claims he did, the claims he made. What makes you think this one person can walk over water and do these crazy miracles, and when nobody else could? What makes him so special? Oh, you say the Son of God. How the hell did he become the Son of God? It's stories, man. Use your brain. Really, use your brain. What else can I say? Same with the other religions. Doesn't matter. Judaism. You go to Gehenna just not for believing, which is the hell, the Jewish hell of the Christians. And not much of that. There's like tons of versions of hell, tons of versions of heaven. What kind of supernatural creator would write multiple books and have to edit them from Old Testament to New Testament? This God is supposed to be perfect, omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent. I just defeated your God, and the religion's right there, man. Alright, so let's go to the deist God. A God of everything. A God that just created the whole universe, created everything, and that just never interferes. That's it. It still doesn't make any sense. Where the hell does God come from? And why? Why all of a sudden decided to create? Because the universe came to exist. It just didn't exist all the time. It doesn't make any sense either. So even though it's a big what if, people say, is it just chance we just landed on here? Are we lucky? Everything's so aligned in place? No. Look at Victor Stinger, Universe Not Fine-Tuned. It shows that it's a big number, don't get me wrong, but it's not impossible. We ended up here. And that's huge, especially from 1 billion years. And that's why atheism is the best answer, because it's relied on real evidence of science, which makes the world, so has changed the world for everything. Creation of electricity, creation of everything we know. It doesn't matter if some of the scientists believed in God. That's fine. You're free to believe in DS God, whatever. But we're coming farther and farther and farther. Of course, by then, thousands of years ago, there was no universe out of nothing. There was no explanation of that source. Of course, something had to believe there's some huge force that had to create the universe. But now we know the universe of nothing is possible. And you just have to wait and be more patient and give some time. Because science is always evolving. From recent discoveries of RNA and DNA on Mars. And it's just going to continue evolving and learning things. And that makes the world go round. Whereas religious dogma is static. So science will always win over that. So all religions are false. All gods are false. And there's no devils and supernatural being. It's all in your head. It's all in your brain. And it's all because of fear. Even Dan Barker said, strict Christian, once again, he had powerful feelings that he believed in God. He felt God. He experienced God. But then at the end, he said it wasn't real. And so that's what changed him from theist to atheist. There you go, folks. So all those people that believing on the religion of, they said 6 million people, I heard him spoke God, the Jewish religion said, and they think since they have the most number, they're the correct religion. But it's not true, folks. What kind of religion that says you cannot use electricity, you have to fast, you have to starve yourself just to please this God, which you cannot even see because it's made up, it's written. Somebody wrote this bullshit. I could create my own religion, just like the Scientology religion. It's made up. Somebody wrote that. Maybe it's not as epic as the people the creative people who wrote the Bible, But still. And there's multiple creation stories. And it's similar, one of them says, God started with the moon, the stars. Some other creation story. I don't know word from word. You can check out P.Z. Myers, Sam Harris. Look, folks, even though I'm atheist, but if any person, even the scientific community or atheists, have physical proof of a God, that's all we need. And that's it. Case closed. Nobody is denying God. Christopher Hitchens was an anti-theist, which he said, if there was a God, I wouldn't worship it because of all the destruction. And some people are anti-theists. I wouldn't worship either. I don't approve of the God of the Bible either. If it existed, fine, but I wouldn't worship it. Now, if it was another God, But why be a slave to okay, say like if it was a space deist god or whatever. Nobody has to bow down and be free to worship him because, oh, he created me. No. If he created you, he should create you out of your love. And you should live the life the way you want to live, in happiness and no forcefulness. That's a loving God. A God that would give you, he created you, he gave you free will, and he's not going to send you to hell because he loves you. That's the God I would worship. But there's no reason to be a slave. I mean, even if that was a God that loved you and created you, and he sent you no to hell, he wouldn't need worship because he is God. You wouldn't have to worship him. He would say, "You're free to live the life you want and enjoy your life." And see, and the problem is with all the religion, you're putting fear in people, preaching in the street, saying they go to hell if you don't believe in this brainwashing religion, which you are already brainwashed. I've heard people cry about religion just because somebody became atheist, literally tears, saying, "You deny the Lord, you repent, you will see," crying over this. And I'm saying to myself, and people are laughing, I'm saying to myself, how brainwashed are you? Some people are just totally brainwashed. If Dan Barker was such a strict atheist, strict Christian, very powerful preacher, and he became, theist, and he became an atheist, which he finally said to himself, these powerful visions of feelings, experience of God that I felt and touched was just not real. Then that's all the evidence you would need. Because he was a preacher, a very strict preacher, and he experienced what a lot of people experience. That's got to give you the most proof of evidence. And there's still that reward for what is it? Either $1 million for proof of existence, evidence of God. And it would never be claimed, and there would never be a Messiah coming. Think about, even if God created the laws, why would God never come down, help people? Sounds like a coward God to me. Just because of a creation of you, and letting people suffer and dying without doing anything. Either that God doesn't care, or he cannot do anything to. Just like Sam Harris says, either God is evil or omnipotent or impotent or whatever. Well, that's all I can say. Oh, well, and the God wouldn't have to make rules, stupid rules and regulations. Because fasting, you have to use electricity. You can't use electricity. It's just ridiculous.